What's up, fellow figureheads? Let's finish this for some of the reviews for some of the toys that I've bought. Well, over the couple of weeks, a couple of weekends ago, and it's just all in the box, and I've been kind of busy with stuff, and I was not able to look into these things. And let's face it, the more I do this, the more it gives me a reason to go out and actually buy some more stuff. So anyway, let's do this. Today we're gonna look at let's get the full name for this. It's called the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Voyager Optimus Primal, or in other words, Beast Wars Optimus. That's all. Simple yet effective. So we, as I mentioned before, we are living in a golden period where we are getting all these fantastic characters into life in its toy form. Such is the case when I reviewed what was it, Hot Rod a couple of weeks ago, and then it was Cyclonus this time around. It is another one of those memorable character, Optimus Primal from the Beast Wars, as I can remember. Not Optimus Prime, but as the story foretold, it was more a descendant of Optimus Prime and sort of the Prime lineage such. And for me, I think the Beast Wars, when I think back of the Beast Wars, there was a time when, so I was a kid growing up with the Generation 1 Transformers, and it was the thing to watch on TV. I mean, apart from other 80s gems, but then in came Generation 2, and it was like, what in God's name is that? Then kind of faded, and then all of a sudden Beast Wars came, and it was quite an engaging experience, in a sense that the storyline, the character, it was really quite a memorable show, and it was one of those like the quintessential 90s series that I never missed an episode, alongside, let's say, X-Men animated series and Spider-Man animated series, Batman animated series and whatnot. I think the Beast Wars was one of those that because I was I was a teenager then, and you know, these stories were a bit more, shall we say, more, it was not kiddie, it was more storyline focus, and was a bit more action focus, and it kind of, I think, fit into my mentality and mind at the time. So yeah, perfect. Of course, I didn't have the money to buy any toys back then, so hence the reason why during in my 40s, and presumably struggling with midlife crisis, I'm into these figures. But I have to say, I have no regrets whatsoever. I'm happy to buy this and look at it. It is a genuinely remarkable homage to that series, and I'm just happy that I'm in a position where I can afford this. Anyway, enough of these nostalgic memories. Let's get into the figure itself. Now, you know, this Optimus Primal comes in the form of the new Netflix series they call the War for Cybertron Kingdom, which is the next or the final phase of this trilogy. Not too sure how he will be portrayed in any way, but it kind of looks like it will follow the same sort of plot line, in a sense that Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal will be two different sort of characters, although they share somewhat similar name as such. This figure itself is actually a Voyager class, and it comes in this nice, very, very beautiful packaging. The Kingdom line has one of the best packaging, but it comes at the expense of a smaller window, but just enough to see quite an exquisite figure inside. Nevertheless, what it lacks in the sort of window display comes up with this. What a beautiful artwork. Look at that. It's Optimus Primal and his alt mode, which actually is a gorilla. So yeah, absolutely love this box, and I will keep it pristine, although I will take out the figure because my intention is to start 3 lines of Transformers in terms of my collection. So you have the G1 Season 1 Season 2 Optimus Prime and his clique. I think I've mentioned this about a gazillion times in my previous video. Then the 86 movie, because it's Hot Rod, or Rodimus Prime rather, and his clique. and these boys. So this guy has to be out, and also I think there are quite a few of these coming out, so it'll be good to collect all of them, and you know, start putting them up in a proper shelf such. On the sides you have this nice nifty artwork, and it kind of pays tribute to how the Beast Wars started, which is based on the golden disc and whatnot. Some product shot of Optimus Primal in his alt mode, and apparently you can convert from his robot mode to his gorilla mode in 22 steps. So I think it's somewhat pretty basic what do you call that, transformation, unlike the Cyclonus. If you haven't seen my review, go check that out. It was in my previous video where it was almost like 30, I don't know what, 34, 36 steps. So that was a bit more complicated. This one kind of looks like a pretty easy thing. I mean, after all, it changes from like a humanoid robot to a sort of humanoid gorilla looking thingy. Anyway, let's open all these boy up, and let's see what we get inside as a figure. So let's get ready to maximize. Now when you get the figure out of the box, as like you can see here, he is about this big, so just about from the my tallest finger here right up to my end of my palm, so it's about a hand's size, shall we say. Yeah, he definitely looks much better than the Cyclonus figure. The Cyclonus figure, I don't know, it felt like it was a bit more made out of like cheap plastic. I mean, I know all of this is made of plastic, but just the general attention to detail on this one seems a lot more. There's this texture in terms of the what do you call the fur aspects of it all. Yeah, general just paint scheme and whatnot, this attention to details like pistons and whatnot. I just love it. I think they have put in a lot of thought into this character. There's no plain flaws as such or defects that I can see. Not a very big figure, but I think it was meant to be like that anyway, because he just transformed into a gorilla, and gorillas, although big, but not that big as such. I did get the Megatron version of this, which is a T-Rex, so that's quite a big boy, but in this case Optimus, I think he's dressed about right, so I'm happy with that. In terms of accessories, he does come with these blades now, the sort of curved blade, and again the accessories, I think I like it. I don't like accessories when it's kind of hollow and whatnot. It's the same problem I had with the Cyclonus blasters. It was just hollow and was like made like, it felt like it was cheap plastic. This one on the other hand, you know, they have two of these blades, and it looks much more better than what we've seen. But aside for the figure and the blades, in the box itself, it comes with, just for those who are interested, manual of how to transform in those what was it, 22 steps, 24 steps, I don't know. But I'm not the one who actually, I'm never the one who uses you know, instructions. I try to figure it out myself by just twisting and turning and playing around with it, and some whatever this is, that is meaningless trouble. And you have a backdrop that is gold in color, and of course I guess this is paying a tribute to the golden disc. I can't say I'm impressed with the backdrop for this. I think the Studio Series got it right in terms of different depictions of the movie, in terms of scenes and whatnot. This one on the other hand, the Kingdom so far, it feels like they're only, you know, issuing this golden disc version of this, because the Cyclonus also came more or less with the same thing, so I wasn't impressed. But what I am impressed, however, is they allocate with this a card that is this shiny, shimmery sort of 80s neon-y, what you can call it, holographic card, you know, the one that you get, and it's a fantastic edition. Like I said, I'm I've never been like a card collector even when I was a kid, but I always liked the sort of like, it makes you feel like you're owning something that is special. So in this case it says Predacon, Black Arachnia. So again, a lot of the cards actually doesn't have any specific relation to the figures that you're getting. Like the Cyclonus I think I got was the card that I received with the Cyclonus was Dinobot, and there was no picture of Cyclonus whatsoever. So similarly for this Optimus Primal, the card that I'm getting here is actually Black Arachnia. So that's the front, and I believe it's actually a sticker, a facade if you will, because if you peel the sticker you get Black Arachnia in her whatever, like a combat mode, and she is like posing, and then right at the back there you can see, I believe is Waspinator. Anyway, and then the Scorpion guy, Scorponok, I believe he's called Scorponok, and what appears to be Dinobot. So yeah, so I love these cards because I think it was the McFarlane series for the DC Multiverse is the one that produces all these cards, like additional cards. Like it harks back to the like the good old days, simpler times when kids actually love collecting, let's say cards and whatnot. So I, you know, good artwork, nothing to complain here. So I'll keep it. I'm happy to include that in my collection. But that all being said, I'm sure you didn't come here for me to just open up the box and talk about card and gold disc and backdrop and whatnot. So let's give this figure his usual rounds and see what we think of him. Now, I've had a chance to play around with this boy, and I have to say it's quite a very simplistic figure. Nothing complicated about anything in the sense that I think it was meant to be played and also just look the part, I suppose. So I'm okay with everything that they've given here. Let's do the transformation first into his gorilla mode, and then we'll take it from there, and then back to his robot mode and see different types of articulation and whatnot. Now, in terms of transformation, now what you have to do, the simplest thing to do is to get the sort of arms proportion right, or at least get the gorilla arm. Now that's not much of a stretch, considering much of his arm is the gorilla arm. All you have to do is this shoulder pad thingy, you just fold it, and voila, you get the gorilla arm. So that's pretty much what, like 10% of the transformation done there. So anyway, the other aspect of it is you see the sort of like a fur skin thing area here. You take this out, and then the idea is to turn it all the way, and this forms his rear end, shall we say, but that means there's another flap here that needs to go up front. So what you do is you twist the entire waist area so that his gorilla feet is in front and his robot feet is at the back. The robot feet is very simply just like a piston type arrangement where you just push it in, and it's just fantastic, it just goes in. Likewise, you can see here I'm just about bending in, and there you go, you fold the robot feet in and you get the gorilla feet. So now you have pretty much like an upright gorilla. Now this transformation here is the only thing that you have to worry about. You can fold his butt flap, shall we say, and there you go. So that pretty much covers most of the transformation. The only, if ever, a tricky, I mean it's not really tricky, but the way to do it is, what you have to do is you hold his arm and you try to split this portion here into two, so that it kind of comes out that way. So just about, you can see here the chest area here from all robot-y to sort of a gorilla chest. So you can see the profile, just flip it, that's it. And then the head, you just have to turn it. Now you have like two blasters to the side of his head. What you have to do is you pull the whole portion of the head, so it was kind of inside, you pull the whole thing out, you turn it around, and you turn such that the gorilla face is facing you. Probably it's easier if you fold the guns inward inside, and then you flip the gorilla head to the side where he can actually, there you go, come in front. So you got that. Then all you have to do is fold that in all in place, And there you go. What you have here now is an upright gorilla that stands on its own, just like that. Just make sure that you fold everything in place, no gaps and whatnot, so you have an upright gorilla. Now if you want a more like a, you know, what do you call that, gorilla that is standing on all four of his what do you call that, limbs, is it limbs? Yeah. You just have to make sure that the leg portion here, you nudge it ever so slightly outside and inside, and you get that crawling position. Likewise, you get that, and let's say the head you want to look front. There you go. So you get a gorilla that's kind of doing that portion here. Now I've tried to make some of all these gaps flush, but this is as much as I can fold and, you know, sort of make him look like normal. You are likely to see exposed areas, especially all these robotic parts, this white whatever mechanized parts and whatnot. There seems to be like a peg here, but it doesn't really connect to anything, so it's like all exposed here. Perhaps they were thinking of putting like a piece, but maybe it was taken out last minute, I don't know. So you are going to get this hole right here, so there's a gaping hole which can be covered if you close the leg, but you know, so all in all, I don't think it's necessarily a bad transformation in terms of gorilla. I just think the gorilla itself looks good in terms of what they're going for in terms of design and whatnot. I just think there are elements here that it just exposes it, but hey, what, you know, he's a robotic gorilla, or is in a robot that transforms into a gorilla, so this is as good as it can get. Nobody says he'll have to be a full-fledged gorilla, although in the Beast Wars he was a full-fledged gorilla. There was no exposed mechanized part. Anyway, not a deal breaker as such, because I was never I don't know whether I will sort of portray him in his gorilla mode here. So let's go back and transform him back to his robot mode. For that, keep his leg upright, and as I mentioned before, there are two flaps here, one for the butt and one for the shall we say front end. You twist them to the point where the front flap goes back, you fold that in, and now that becomes your butt flap. The butt flap that was part of the gorilla mode, you twist it and you fold it back that way. So now all you have to do is bring forward the robot feet, and there you go, and there you have the robot feet. Now the gorilla feet itself, you can it has some sort of like a toe articulation, and it can go sort of there's a like a rocker motion there, but it doesn't really like fold upwards, so we'll leave it at that. As such, it's kind of this longer, like a elongated feet that way. So then you bring down the arms. What you want to do is get that robot head. So again, hold the hands ever so nicely and split the head all the way. Bring this forward. Hold on, you have to turn the head so that it's going back to its original position. There you go, back to facing the back, shall we say. Then you flip the whole thing 180 degrees so that this whole thing can go inside. And the guns, the blasters, shall we say, is something that you have to take out. So just take them out like that. Okay, so you have now the robot head up, the gorilla head down, and then the blasters on the sides. You push it whole thing back, and one thing you need to do is the chest from the gorilla, you flip it up to become the robot chest, and you bring all of them together, and what you will get is Optimus Primal back. Now the chest itself, I feel I think the you know, it's like a seesaw effect, you know. So you're gonna close like one gap, but you're gonna expose another. So I think the sweet spot is somewhere like in the middle, maybe, I don't know. And there you go, you have Optimus Primal in all his robot glory. One thing I noticed is that the more you play around with him, like for instance, if you can see here, the nose all of a sudden like some paint has come out. I think the more and more you transform him, it's likely that you're gonna get some paint that's gonna come out, but it's okay. I'm gonna leave him as such. Now in terms of articulation of the robot itself, his head can go left, his head can go right, and I believe it can go all the way around. Yes, it is on a ball joint. His arms can go that way as much as it can. Let's see if okay, let's take out the shoulder pad, because that was how he originally was. Yeah, so he has like that. So if I were to do the full stretch, he can go that way, he can rotate. So that was in a ball joint. His elbows can bend by that much. And does he have any articulation in his hands? No, but he can open his fingers to allow for you to place the blades. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a closed position, because the profile of the hand is actually like rounded and curved, so that this what do you call that, the handle area there, you can just slot that in and the blade fits in nicely. The fingers, I suppose, just for what do you call that, the effects of grip essentially. And then yep, you can have that. You have, of course, his waist swivel, going all the way that much, back by that much, I suppose. Can he do the split? Yeah, possibly. Bend to his knee, and as I mentioned before, his legs do go, sorry, his feet does go up and down, and there is like a rocking motion there. So as a action figure, I think he will do all the right poses. I will try to do poses and show you before I conclude the video, but I think he should be just about enough. You should be able to get enough action pose of what is expected from Optimus Primal in terms of like a blade wielding gorilla robot. I mean, if that isn't weird enough, I don't know what is. So he can do what is necessary, I suppose. And that would be it, I think. I don't know whether what else is there. All in all, I'm happy with this. I have to say, like I said, I have gone for this in terms of how I wanted a Beast Wars figure, and I'm just so glad that I have Optimus Primal. So I assume someone like you know, Megatron, the T-Rex and whatnot will all fit the part and will all fit into this verse, and you are likely to collect you'll be able to collect like a good team and display them well as a like a decent team for your Beast Wars collection. Okay, so with that, I think I've done pretty much everything I need to do with this figure. So with that, guys, if you like what you saw today, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let me finish off the Megatron Beast Wars T-Rex, and after that, that will allow me to go hunting again this week. Well, if possible, because there are some COVID restrictions, but if it is possible, because I want to go and finish off this gang. I want to get the Black Arachnia, I want to get, who else is there, Cheetor, Rat Trap, and then hopefully the next wave they'll come back with some Rhinox, Air who else, Waspinator, Scorponog, and all these people. And after that, you know, I'll die a happy man. Well, I'm just kidding. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you when I see ya. Adios.